The second session is called Make Maturita Manageable with the 3 M's, rather a long title. We'll come back to that in a moment and I'll explain exactly what the 3 M's are. But first, I had a chance to chat to some of you during the coffee break and found out a little bit more about you. So I thought I should return the favour and tell you a little bit more about myself. But at the same time, what I want to do is demonstrate an activity that is a real good icebreaker. So if you've got a new class of students, you know what that feels like. What we're going to do. Here's an idea of something you can do. We're going to play What's the Connection? And you need someone to help you. 2 brains are better than 1, they say. So have a look around at the people that you're sitting next to. Are they awake? Not falling asleep just after. Okay, make sure, wake up. It's time to do something. You're going to be working together to play What's the Connection? What's the connection? Starting with a photograph. All of these things are connected to me in one way or another. Who could this be? My wife? Nope. Sister, thank you. Not, as one lady said yesterday, is it your daughter? No. She's only 3 years younger than me. Crikey. That's what 15 years in the classroom does for your wrinkles, right? She'll be very pleased when I tell her. This is Abby, my sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and she's the mother of my 2 lovely nieces, Mia and Amy. Mia 12, Amy 9. And they're over in the UK, and I try to get home and see them as often as I can. You may remember that I live in Poland, not in the UK. All right, good. Here's some more information, and this is where it's your go, to try to link to me. So, for example, 38. What do you think that could be? Thank you. You're my new best friend. Sadly, no. I'm a little bit older than that, unfortunately. It's not my age. To help you, here are some pictures that will act as clues. So talk to the person or people that you're with. What's the connection between the information and me? Use the pictures to help you. You have about 1 minute. Off you go. Okay, thank you. Sorry if you haven't quite finished, but let's keep moving. Okay, so let's see. 38 sadly is not my age anymore. What could it be? Sorry? 38, yeah. Shoe size is a good idea. No, 42. 42, no. It's connected to this one. Yes, that's it. I've visited 38 countries. Lucky me, right? One of the perks of the job. I get to travel a lot. And if I'm very lucky, as I am this weekend, I get some time off to actually explore. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But 38 countries. 10 kilometers. Yes, every morning at 6 a.m. No. This is, after a good night's sleep and a big breakfast, this is about as far as I can run. This is my absolute maximum, and I try to do it once or twice a week, but I often fail. But especially in the winter. But spring is coming, so no more excuses, right? What happened in 1975? I was born. I'm even older than that, I'm afraid. Oh, you were born in 1975. How very young?
Yeah.
Yes, right. In 1975, no, I wasn't born. This is when I spoke for the first time. Yeah, my first sensible words in English. And actually, I should have asked my mum. I don't know what my first word was. I wonder. Not maybe Pearson? I'm not sure. No, probably not Pearson. No. This one.
You like skateboarding?
I do. I like snow. I love it. In fact, you would be able to say I do love snowboarding. That's me. Sadly, I've managed 2 hours of snowboarding so far this whole season. To do with being busy, to do with broken cars, and nightmare. 2 hours. So I'm hoping for some more snow. You too? You always get the same answer. Asian what? Asian food, that's right. I was lucky enough to live and work in Thailand for 6 years, although that was 10 years ago now. But I completely fell in love with, well, the whole country, but especially the food. I still think about it almost on a daily basis. I do, and try to recreate some in the kitchen with mixed results, I have to say. 2001, what happened then? That's right, that's when I qualified with my CELTA course, 15, 16 years ago now. And French and German. These are the languages that I should speak. These are the languages that I did at school, but I have to say I've largely forgotten both of them because, I have an excuse, because Polish is so difficult. There's no more room left in my head for any other language. I've been in Poland for 9 years now and I'm still far from fluent. Maybe one day, maybe one day. Very good. Okay, so now you know a little bit more about me. It's a nice one to use in class if you don't mind sharing some information about yourself. And the obvious next stage is that each student prepares a similar list and then in groups they can discuss the lists, ask and answer questions. And it's really nice for group dynamics, you know, to get everybody to know each other a little bit. Lovely. Okay. The title of the session today was Make Maturita Manageable with what? 3 M's. Here they are, the 3 M's. The vowels have disappeared again, broken keyboard. Can you help me? The first M is? Of course it is. Well done. The second one? Memorization, yes. And finally? Meaningful practice. That's motivation, memorization, and meaningful practice. And these are 3 key core elements to the materials that we'll be talking about today. Here's a quick menu for the next 45 minutes or so. Making vocabulary, hard to say, making vocabulary manageable. Of course, vocabulary is key to success in communication and it's also key to success in exams. So I want to look how our 3 M's relate to the process of vocabulary acquisition with upper secondary students. If you're going to do well in your exam, you have to be accurate. So we'll be looking at accuracy and how we can help students develop it. But you also, of course, have to be fluent. And here I'm talking about spoken fluency rather than written fluency today. So we'll be looking at the 3 M's in relation to all of these. And the materials that we'll be drawing on are Maturita Focus. I'm very proud to say that I'm part of the author team for Maturita Focus. I wrote 4 of the workbooks and co-wrote 2 of the student books. And it was a wonderful experience. As you can guess from the title, Maturita Focus is a specific version for you here in the Czech Republic, geared towards the Maturita exam. Including things like strategies specifically for the exam in Czech language to help the students, and also practice of the tasks specifically that the students will be doing in Maturita. So it's a Czech version of Focus. We hope it's easy to navigate. We've tried to keep it simple in terms of headings, and one key concept behind the book is that it's 1 page, 1 lesson, which lots of teachers seem to appreciate. Easy as that, 1 page, 1 lesson. I worked together with 2 other authors, the main authors of the course, who are, you probably won't know their names, Sue Kay and Vaughan Jones, but you may know their last and most successful book, which was Inside Out, a book for adults called Inside Out, which some of you may have come across. They are now writing for Pearson. They are lovely and they were kind enough to take me under their wing. So it was a pleasure to be part of the team. Good. All right. As I said, I'm English. I try to go home as often as I can to see those lovely nieces of mine. And I was home recently and I did my usual square. Let me explain what I mean. I flew into Liverpool with lovely Ryanair, you know. From Liverpool, I headed straight up north to Lancaster, where my sister and my mum are. After a couple of days there, it was across to Leeds to see my grandma, who is 97 and still going strong, bless her. After I'd seen Grandma, down here to see Dad in the countryside just outside Sheffield, and finally back across to Liverpool into the loving arms of Ryanair to fly me back to Poland. I usually do this same square, you know, the grand tour every time I go home. Recently, my mum moved house to be closer to my sister, and you know what happens when you move house? You clear out the loft and you find treasure. My mum found all sorts of treasure in the loft, including my old school photographs, which for some strange reason I've decided to show you one of today. I like embarrassing myself in public, what can I say? Have you heard of a series of books, actually they're American I think, called Where's Wally? Do you know what that is? Busy picture, you have to find the little guy in the big busy picture. Today we're going to play Where's Dan? Can you spot me in my school photograph? (1986), goodness, 13 years old. We'll zoom in, make it easier. Yeah? Got me? Where? In the middle? Not the one with the beard? Not the one with the beard. Yes, that's me, well done. 13 years old, a picture of innocence. This was our teacher, of course, here, and his name was Mr. Me, believe it or not. M-double-E, Mr. Me, yes. I don't have fond memories of Mr. Me, I have to say. He's probably a nice guy, you know. So there I am, wonderful. As well as the old school photographs, my mum also found old school reports, which my nieces took great pleasure in looking through and laughing at. Here they are. This is Mum, Mia and Amy, and they particularly enjoyed my school reports from when I was little, the ones from infant school, here aged 5 to 8. Mrs. Hindle was my teacher. I can't remember her face, but she was lovely, I seem to remember. So, age 5, Dan's school report. Age 5, inclined to talk too much, apparently. Age 6, rather excitable and talkative. Can you see the pattern? Things improved though by the age of 7. He now interrupts less during group discussions. And then it kind of went downhill again. 8 years old, must remember to think before he speaks. Yes, clearly a sign that I was going to spend my life working with words, right? Or something like that, I suppose. So this gave my nieces something to laugh at, as you can imagine. Let's go back for a moment, because this one comes from secondary school, and it's the language report. This is my German report. My teacher was Mrs. Harris. I think she was about 103 years old. She was a very old lady, she was, bless her. Daniel's working well, making good progress. If he revises thoroughly and learns the vocabulary accurately, he should be able to obtain a good grade in the examination. He has the potential to do very well. I'm afraid to say that I didn't quite reach that potential, and I didn't do as well as I should have done in my German exam. And that was chiefly because I didn't revise thoroughly and I didn't learn the vocabulary accurately. I took a very poor approach, and we think in Maturita Focus we have a much better approach to the acquisition of vocabulary. So I want to show you that. Let's have a look at how we can make vocabulary manageable with those 3 M's. Our topic, because we're going to do an activity, and our topic is this: house and home. Would you like to live in this house? No, strange photo. All right, let's change it slightly. It's in San Francisco, which, as you probably know, is all built on hills like that. I ask you again, would you like to live in this house? Very good for your leg muscles, walking up and down that street all day. All right, so house and home is our topic, and we're going to demonstrate an activity which will help me to explain the importance of 3 M's, for which you need a pen and paper. Can everyone please make sure they have pen and paper? You're going to work on your own at first for this activity. Okay, so you've got pen and paper? Good. Everyone, please, what I would like you to do is think about your house or your flat and make a quick list of all the rooms that are in your house or flat. Bathroom, bedroom. A quick list, please. All the rooms that are in your house or flat. If you live in a palace, unlucky. Okay, you can stop there. Doesn't matter if you don't have them all. Next, please, can you number them in the order in which you spend the most time? So number 1 should be the room where you spend the most time.
We count sleeping.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Now, the room that you've numbered as number 1, I'd like you to spend the next 20 seconds, please, writing a quick list of everything you can think of that is in that room. 20 seconds for number 1, go. And stop. Okay, now the next stage of the activity is one we've seen already today. It's this. One more time. Get together with the person you're sitting near to. Did you choose the same room? How many items have you got together? How many items of furniture and things do you have? 30 seconds, a quick check.
Could I ask you if we can get some summary on the internet?
Thank you for reminding me. Right. You mean the slides, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you for reminding me. You can get them. You can get them. Yes. I'll mention it. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Excellent. Now, what I hope this activity demonstrates is the power of collaboration. When you got together with your partners, undoubtedly you got more words that you knew in the topic area of house and home and furniture. Now, of course, you're all proficient speakers of English. But when you look at your list, do you think that the average pre-intermediate student might know some of the words on your list? Most of them, right? Bed, table, chair, etc., etc. And we think it's absolutely key in terms of our first M, motivation, to give the students a chance to show what they already know before we introduce any new vocabulary. So, for example, pre-intermediates to think back to what they learnt at elementary level before we introduce the new stuff at pre-intermediate level. So every vocabulary lesson in Maturita Focus starts with show what you know. This is actually the activity that we did together just now. Look, think about your house, list all the rooms, put them in order, and then the students are asked to list at least 6 items for each room. So they do a broader task. And here's one of the key elements, of course, combine your lists. So that element of collaboration. Plus, showing off a bit what you already know, we think is very good in terms of motivation. As I said, every vocabulary lesson in Maturita Focus begins with show what you know. This one is on house and home. Yes, the Hobbit house for fans of Lord of the Rings. Believe it or not, someone who's a real fan of Lord of the Rings built their own Hobbit house in the UK. And there it is. One of the most difficult things about writing an exam course book is that you are faced every time with the same 20 topics. The same topics that are in the exam and have been in the exam for the last 20 years. So it's very hard to actually come up with a new angle on such an old and familiar topic as house and home. And I think we've done it in Maturita Focus. If you have a chance to flick through, you'll see that we've got new angles on familiar topics. So we start with show what you know, but that's not the end of the vocabulary acquisition process. We have something rather unique in Maturita Focus. Before we look at it though, we need to take just a quick look at my old school report once again. If he revises thoroughly and learns the vocabulary accurately. Okay. One of the biggest problems I had in my German revision was that I kept a vocabulary notebook over the 2 years that I studied for the exam. And you know what I did? I kept it from A to Z. Page 1 said A at the top. Page 3 said B at the top. Page 5 said C. And so I recorded the words over 2 years in alphabetical order. And when it came to time to revise, I opened my book and I was greeted by 60 words beginning with A, but with no other uniting factor at all. Impossible to revise from. We know better, don't we? And our students now organise their notes by topic, at least I'm sure they do, bless you. And this is what we thought in Maturita Focus, of course, would work as well. But more than just recording your vocabulary and topic, it's also important to use a variety of methods to record words, to make revision as easy as possible and to make the notes as clear as possible. So we can use things like categories. Once again, the vowels have disappeared. So things inside a house and things outside a house. A simple method of organization for this lexical set. There are many other ways of recording vocabulary. So it's over to you again with your highly intelligent partners. Can you unscramble the rest of these ways of recording vocabulary? You have 30 seconds. Okay, I can hear the cogs turning around in your brains, working it out. So keep those 9 ways of recording vocabulary in mind, and let's check the answers by looking at an example of each one. So categories was our first one. The second one, word families. Again, a way of organizing vocabulary, but this time by part of speech rather than topic. Can you remember what the third one was? Categories, collocations. Collocations was the third one. So recording chunks of language rather than individual words. And we all know that that's the way to proceed, isn't it? Also regarding chunks of language, the next one, number 4, can you remember what it was? Well done, useful phrases. Useful phrases. Yeah, so, you know, those functional items that make our students sound a little bit more fluent and prepare them well, to speak English in the real world and at the same time get ready for their exam. Good. Can you remember number 5? Antonyms and synonyms, that's right. Oh, I forgot to tell you, didn't I? Now is a good time to tell you. You prompted me, thank you, taking a picture. After the conference, we'll send you an email with all the slides. Yeah, so you don't have to make I don't know exactly when, but soon. You don't have to make too many notes. There were more. Can anybody remember what number 6 was? Incredible feat of memory. It was diagrams, well done, yes, such as this one, which is a word spider or a word map. Good for recording associated words and branches of words. 7? Well done, someone's on fire. Flowcharts, yes. Mathematicians amongst you, of course, these are good for recording words that occur in a process, in this case the justice system. Commit a crime, get arrested, go to court, go to prison, that kind of thing. 8 was the difficult one. Something beginning with a C. It's this. It's called a cline. Like line, but with a C in front of it, a cline. You will have used this probably for adverbs of frequency. Never, sometimes, often, always. Very good for words that exist on some sort of continuum. I don't know why it's called a cline. Maybe it was invented by someone called Klein. Calvin Klein, for example. I'm not entirely sure. Number 9 was the very last one, began with a T. A table. A table, of course. In this case, for recording the order in which adjectives occur. What a lot of variety. All of those various ways of recording vocabulary, plus, for example, example sentences, very important to set the language in context. Focus on confusing words, words that students often mix up, like job and work. A focus on cognates, words for free, so words that are the same in both languages. Someone very kind, once gave me a list of Polish, English cognates, and my vocabulary tripled overnight. Cognates are great for confidence. And of course, notes on common mistakes, little tricky areas to watch out for. Remember this, things to remember. Now, that is the kind of detail which leads to success in exams, which leads to successful and energizing revision. Do you think your average student is capable of producing a vocabulary notebook that looks like the one we've just seen? No, neither did we. So we decided that we would help them. And this is one of the unique things, or unique at the moment until someone copies us, in Maturita Focus. It's called the Word Store, and it's designed to help us with the second M, memorization of language. I'll show you how it works. Back to the lesson for a moment. So show what you know. Then the new vocabulary set in context of a text. Of course, then there's a column down the right-hand side which says go to the word store on page 9. Now, you don't need to get your books out. Allow me to show you. But the best way to demonstrate this is to actually show you. So there's the Hobbit house. There's the column with the vocab exercises. Go to the word store. Well, the word store sits here in the back of the book. Word store, page 9. Okay, so that's the corresponding lesson. The students fold the book together, and what they see on their desk, ta-da, is that. What course book writers have always wanted, an extra page for every vocab lesson. And as they work their way through the lesson, they transfer the vocabulary into the most appropriate ways of recording it. They can test themselves with some questions afterwards if they want to. And believe me, it is very firmly glued in the back of the book, so there's no excuse for losing your vocabulary notebook before the exam. There it is. So something unique in Focus, and something that teachers and students have given us very positive feedback about. It's the word store. Find the right page, complete the exercises, and complete the comprehensive vocabulary notes. Then we're not finished, of course. Back to the lesson, and it's time for our final M, the third M, which was meaningful practice. And when I say meaningful practice, let me show you what I mean. Look at the rubric. Complete the questions with the correct form, then in pairs ask and answer. Choose words and phrases, complete the table, then compare with your partner. Now, you will have come across gapped sentences in course books. And we started thinking about this. Gapped sentences are very good, but aren't gapped questions better if we're going to get the students using the language? So instead of sentences, we've got questions here. And the idea is that the students fill them in, they get the control practice, and then they ask and answer. And immediately they use the new language for a true communicative purpose. That's what we mean by meaningful practice, prompting the students to actually use the language to communicate and use their imagination at the same time. So, our third of the 3 M's. The practice, of course, continues in the workbook. Just a couple of things to point out here. In the workbook, we've also got these remember this boxes, you may remember, for common errors, and remember better, which is my ideas for helping the students revise and learn vocabulary as they work their way through the course. So lots of learning tips in Remember Better. You'll notice there's also Show What You Know in the workbook and Show What You've Learnt, which is a cumulative test that comes at the end there. Now, one thing that I was very certain about in the workbook when I wrote it was that I wanted there to be an exact correlation between the student book and the workbook. You know what it's like as a teacher. You plan to do word store A, B, C, and D. Something goes wrong and you only manage A, B, and C. It's like, oh, now which exercises from the workbook do I set? Well, it's easy. You set A, B, and C. They're exactly correlated with each other, the workbook and the student's book. Good. Right. That's enough talking for a while. It's time for you to do something, an activity to take to class, one which is really good for developing vocabulary at this upper secondary level. You may or may not have heard of this activity. It's called Taboo. Some people nodding in recognition. Now, the idea of the activity is played in pairs. So let's say we're going to play a game together. Don't worry, you just have to sit there. There'll be a stack of cards between us, and when it's my go, I'll take one, but you're not allowed to see it. What I'm going to have to do is explain the orange word to you, but obviously I can't say the orange word, and I can't say any of the black words either. So I have to search through my vocabulary and find a different way to explain this word to you. So I would say something like, these are the 3 or 4 months when it gets warm again, when the plants begin to grow and the rabbits skip through the fields, and you would say to me, Spring! Fantastic. Now it's your go. Yep, so that's how the game is played in class. We're going to play our version of it here today, so you need a partner. One of you is A, one of you is B. Please decide now who is A and who is B. If there's 3 of you, you can have an A and 2 Bs. Good. Not yet. That was remarkably fast. Sometimes I ask teachers to do this. Can you decide who's A and who's B? And they talk for like a minute. About what? I don't know. It's a mystery. But all right. So A's, you're going to be explaining. Again. B's, you are going to be guessing. So a little like we did in the earlier session for the video. B's, you're not allowed to look at the screen. B's, turn your chair, cover your eyes, whatever it takes. Okay. So B's, are you going to look at the screen? No. A's, are you going to say any of the orange or black words? No. Instructions checked. Fantastic. Here comes your card, A's. Get ready to explain. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah? Okay, thank you. I can see some satisfied faces. Did it. Right, confidence. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm a great believer in fairness in all things, which means we should change jobs and do it one more time. So this time, A's, you're not allowed to look at the screen, and B's, you're doing the explaining, okay? A's, please don't look. B's, here comes your card. 3, 2, 1, explain it. Success. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I love this game because it forces the students to go beyond the most basic vocabulary. Now, where do I get the cards from, I hear you ask? Well, there's one set in the back of the teacher's book. This is at pre-intermediate level. The teacher's book, by the way, is currently being printed, I believe, and will be available very soon in time for the new term. So there's a set in the back, but if you go to Google and if you type in taboo cards EFL or ESL or whatever, you'll find loads of them online, usually free to download, and you can print them out and chop them up. But the very, very best way to generate these cards is to ask the students themselves to make them. Not only does it lead to a much longer lesson, but it's also student-generated revision. What you do is you group your students. Okay, group 1, can you look back to unit 2? Can you look back to unit 3, 4, 5? So they look back and choose 10 words you liked, 10 words you thought were useful, 10 words you couldn't remember, and the students make a set of cards and then pass them to another group to play with. Student-generated repetition, recycling, and revision of vocabulary. Great game, Taboo. Try that one out in class. Good. What's next? Accuracy. Of course, you need to be accurate too if you're going to be successful in exams, and the idea of accuracy and grammar go hand in hand, don't they, really? The grammar syllabus, as you would expect in Maturita Focus, is full and provides everything necessary for the exam. The lessons, as you would probably also expect, present new language in either an authentic dialogue or a text. They focus on that language in the grammar focus box. One thing to note here is that it's not just read and understand. Actually, we get the students to help complete the rules in the box. So they're actively part of establishing meaning of grammar. Control practice and freer practice. Everything as you would expect, but something you might not expect is in the workbook. Because before every grammar lesson, if you want to, you have the option to set show what you know, and this is the workbook here, from exactly the same lesson. Now, the idea is that the students complete this at home before they come to your grammar lesson. So, for example, look back at what you learned about past simple in elementary level before you come to tomorrow's lesson about past simple and learn more. It's great for making sure that everyone is starting from a sort of level playing field, roughly the same place, and it's very good if you have a class with mixed abilities, which is basically every class, isn't it? So, how do you remember to set that before your grammar lesson? Well, don't worry. In the teacher's book, there's a big remember to set the grammar in the workbook before the lesson. It's an option for you if you think that might help you in class. And the teacher's book also contains activities to help practice grammar, to bring it off the page. This one, you know the kind of thing. You walk around the classroom asking and answering and gathering names. It's the Czech version of Focus, the Maturita Focus, which means the grammar notes in the back are translated with Czech to help your students, as are the word lists as well, English to Czech, all to make life easier for the students. And another way to work on accuracy, something we saw earlier on, is to focus on confusing words, words that are often mixed up, like job and work. And in that word store in the back of the book, there are recurring sections on confusing words. So I want to give you an activity to help you to bring this to life a bit. It's rather a silly activity, but as you know, the English have a silly sense of humour, so that's why I like it. You need a partner, the same one I suggest. It can also be played in groups of 3. And for your group, you need 2 pieces of paper. Not for each person, but for your whole group, you just need 2 pieces of paper. On one piece of paper, please write in big letters the word job. On the other piece of paper, in big letters, the word work. Job and work. That's good. Now you need to tear that paper out of the notebook and put the 2 pieces of paper somewhere where you can both see them and both reach them. Oh. On the chair between you, on somebody's knee, for example. So you need to tear the paper out of the book. Yes. Can I borrow yours? Hopefully you've got that somewhere in between you. Okay. Now, this activity is called banana dictation. Now the silliness begins. I'm going to read out some sentences from the book with a missing word. And the missing word is either job or work. But instead of the missing word, I will simply say banana. What you have to do is listen carefully and work out, is the missing word job or is it work? And you have to grab the piece of paper faster than anyone else in your group. Who can get the right piece of paper as quickly as possible? Not only is it a game of great intelligence, but also high speed. All right. Let's see. Oh, I need to get the right page. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Number 1. Do you have a part-time banana? Super fast. Well done. Excellent. Lovely. Great. No punching or elbowing, please. Number 2. What time do most people start banana in your country? Well done. Okay, very good. Next. Have you ever applied for a holiday banana? Fast. Yes. You're winning every time, madam, I think. 2 more. Do either of your parents banana from home? Yes, yes, well done. And the very last one, here we go, the very last one is, do you know anybody who has a really good banana? Yes, well done. Well done. Fantastic. You know, just a little something to liven the class up for a few minutes, change of pace, bit of energy. It doesn't have to be a banana, by the way. Choose your fruit, your favorite fruit. It works with vegetables too. Those are the sentences we used. No preparation needed. You just read it out of the book. In fact, the students do all the preparation, don't they, with those 2 bits of paper. Good. That's banana dictation. That's what my tongue looks like every morning, of course. Developing fluency in preparation for life, but also in preparation for the speaking exam. As you would expect, I imagine, the Maturita focus syllabus, the speaking syllabus, is split between lessons that are very much focused on exam things like state and support your opinion, compare and contrast, that kind of thing. Some lessons like that, and some lessons which are more situational language, like this one, for example, which is shopping and making complaints. So you can see the difference. Some are very functional, some are more situational. Always introduced in a lively dialogue, always summarized in an interactive box where the students actually have to do something, and always followed by a freer speaking activity that they can actually integrate this language into their known language. But there's something else that makes Maturita Focus unique, and that's the videos that accompany the speaking lessons. For every level, every speaking lesson, there's an accompanying video which gives the visual element of the initial dialogue. And I want to show you one now, but I want to show you a technique that actually we used earlier on to get the students' attention. I'm going to show you a very short clip from the video, but I'm going to switch the sound off, and I'm going to ask you to answer these questions as you watch. So how old are the girl and boy? It takes place in a shop. And why did the girl go to the shop? Let me make sure I switch the sound off. Yes. All right. That should be enough for you to answer the questions. Just check with the person next to you. Do you have the same ideas? Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you. So, how old do you think they are, roughly? Teenagers, late teens, right? The obvious, of course, being the same age as our students, roughly. So that the students have something to relate to, possibly, can identify with the actors. These films always feature teenagers of the same age. Now, why did the girl go to the shop? She wanted to return something. Yes, that's right. Something faulty, probably, or... Great, well done. In class, of course, it doesn't matter what the students say now. They could say she went to the shop to buy a banana. Doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. What does matter is that they engaged with the video. So by turning the sound off, guess what we got again? You'll remember from the session this morning. Which is exactly what we want, isn't it? Their focus on the film. And of course, in class, what you do now is play it again with the sound up, and they can check their predictions, and then they have a task, a viewing task. We're not going to do that today, but I want to show you one more element from the Maturita Focus speaking videos that is something truly unique at the moment. After the main video, each character's role is recorded in a face-to-face video, and I'll show you in a moment, meaning that the students have a chance to interact with the characters and practice the functional language from the lesson. Let me show you what I mean with the help of a parrot. Okay, so here she is. This is the customer, which means that clearly we are going to be the shop assistants. Will you help me? Yes, gladly, gladly. Okay, so we're going to be the shop assistants. Now, you haven't even heard the script yet, so how do you know what to say? Fear not, there are subtitles, which you have also in class. So what I'd like you to do, and I'll do it too, is we're going to play shop assistant. So we'll read along the subtitles and interact with the character. Notice this green timer here gives you an idea of how long you have for your part. Okay, so let's have a go at interacting with the character on the screen. We are first, by the way. What do shop assistants always say when you walk into the shop? Oh, hello, can I? Yeah, that's our first line, okay? Are you ready? And we speak first. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Can I help you?
Yes. I bought this dress last week, but the zip doesn't work.
Really? I'm sorry about that. What's wrong with it?
Well, when I try to close it, nothing happens. I think it's faulty. I'd like a refund, please.
Do you have your receipt?
Yes. Here it is. No thanks. I just want my money back.
Beautifully done. Congratulations. Fantastic. So nice, right? It goes from a passive viewing experience and becomes an active viewing experience. And the nice thing is that, well, actually I don't need to show you, but with the help of this button here, CC, you can switch the subtitles off. So once you've done it 2 or 3 times round, then the students can practice doing it from memory. And we're moving towards actually acquiring that functional language instead of just reading it off the screen. So something rather unique at the moment for Maturita Focus. Well, we've almost finished, but not quite. First of all, a summary, a very quick summary. I hope I've shown you that we have a unique approach to vocabulary acquisition in Maturita Focus, and that the 3 M's are a core part of that. We've looked at accuracy, how we can make that manageable, particularly by setting some preparatory work for the students to do at home before they come to the grammar lessons, and how we can make fluency manageable with the help of those wonderful videos as well. We do what we can, don't we, as teachers, to stop our students from making mistakes and committing the terrible sin of an error, but sometimes they still will make mistakes. In fact, not only students, you come across mistakes everywhere, don't you? Especially when you travel a lot. It's amazing all this sort of wonderful English that you see all around the world, which is not quite right, but it's certainly quite amusing. The door is closed, so I think we're okay to laugh at some of these mistakes. So a compilation of English mistakes from around the world for your pleasure. Terrible offer. Yeah. Ouch. This would seem like an appropriate place to stop, really, wouldn't it? We speaking English. Okay, wonderful. All that remains is for me to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. If you want to know anything about the book, come and talk to us. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of the day and rest of the weekend. Thank you.